Well, hello everyone. I am Caryn Harlos, and I am the Secretary for the National Party and the Libertarian National Committee. It is so good to be able to virtually speak with you. When I was elected to this position, I had promised to promote a culture of mentorship and transparency within the party, and I hope this video at least is a good step towards fulfilling that promise. Mentorship in that this will be one of hopefully many such tutorials that would be geared towards party members to teach them how to do some things within the party that people may talk about, but it ends up sometimes being confusing. And transparency, as the subject of this video, is Libertarian National Committee transparency. I call it your window to LNC transparency. So let's get started. So what exactly do I mean by LNC transparency? The ability to observe your elected representatives and officers in action by being able to read their email discussions, email deliberations, email votes, or perhaps even attend in-person meetings. All LNC meetings are open to any party member with very limited exception for such as legal strategy or other really sensitive information, but that is kept to a minimum. When it comes to in-person meetings, you will find these announced on lp.org. We have 3 or 4 of them a year, and they're also announced on the party's Facebook page. You may think, well, that doesn't help you much because you're not about to travel long distances just to attend a 2-day board meeting, though you know, I know there's some of you that share my sickness where that just sounds like an awesome vacation. But you don't have to do that. We'd love to have you if you can be there, and some people do come, and there is opportunity to interact with the LNC. But that is not required, as we do live stream each of our meetings. And the way to find those live streams is included in the meeting announcement as it gets closer. But you can also view past streams of meetings right here. So just go and check it out. In between physical meetings, the LNC conducts business through an email list, which is completely open for your observation. This page here is your gateway to these email discussions, as well as past meeting minutes and other pertinent information when it comes to the LNC. You will note that there are 2 options in order to view this email list. The first option, which we call Piper Mail, is directly through the lp.org site. And this will allow you to sort these emails by subject, author, discussion thread, and date, which can be very helpful. And you'll note that past years are included there as well from the time that these email discussions were made public. And the other is through a Google group. And like all Google groups, it offers a subscription option where you can have emails delivered right to your email box. And you could have them as they are made or in a daily digest format. And before I was on the LNC, that's what I did. And I found that very, very convenient. The list that is actually on the lp.org site does not have a subscription option. So let's go through a few of these options just so you can see what I'm talking about. If you go over to the lp.org option and you click here, you will notice that you do have all of these choices. So let's go through some of these actually right now so that you can see what I'm talking about. Now, the first one that is on that page that I directed to you says it is Business Email Archives. That is the list that is directly on the lp.org site. And if you go there, you can see these various options that I mentioned. All the way back through 2012 is listed, and you can see clickable links where you can sort any of these years by thread, subject, author, and date. And you also see that you can download them if you would want to keep them locally to do any kind of searching on your own computer. Let's click through a few of these so you know what I mean by these options. First thing you need to know when you click through, and it's not immediately obvious, is that the oldest messages are on top with the newest ones on the bottom. So here where we are sorting by thread, and you see the email entitled Bill, guess what I found? That is an older one. That is from the very beginning of 2018. And you'll notice that there is one reply to that by Starchild. So this is like a threaded conversation of the various email titles. So you scroll all the way down, you will see that some emails have no responses on them, some have a ton, and some just have a few. But this is an easy way that you can follow an entire discussion. Chronologically, these might be very diverse, and if you were just reading it that way, it skips around. But viewing it by thread, you can be sure you have the entire conversation on the same email subject. Now, if you go back and click through by subject, it is basically the same thing. It is by subject, but it's not in a threaded view. This is basically how you prefer to view these things. The two are not substantially different. Now, if you go back, you can select to view by author. If you're interested in the, say, performance level of a certain LNC member, such as how active are they when they speak? Do you generally agree with them? This is very useful when it comes time to evaluating persons for election or re-election. You can go and view their discussions and work product by name. And lastly is the one that you probably would use most often, which is by date. And as I said, the newest ones are on the bottom. So if you wanted to see the newest ones, you'd scroll all the way down to the bottom and the last message will be there. And if we click on one of these, you can see the message. And if you go down to the bottom, you can see also how you can click to next message and previous message to navigate through this list. Now, if we go back to that landing page on the lp.org site, the next option is called LNC Votes. If you click on that, that takes you over to the Google list. And this is by default a threaded view. But there's something very cool here that I'd like to show you. If you click on any of these, you can see the threaded discussion. And this is a much cleaner threaded version than you'll find from the list at lp.org. But if you click up at the top here, you see that it can give you a link to the entire discussion that you can copy and paste in, like Facebook, if you wanted to start an open discussion about items of LNC business. Also, if you sign into the Google group with a Google account, you can, of course, subscribe to this list, as I mentioned, with these various options. And most helpfully, there is a search function here. It's not perfect, but if there's something you know you read and you're having a hard time finding it, you're able to search through messages here. Well, I hope you found this helpful, and now you can follow along with the LNC discussion so that you know what the National Party is doing and what your officers and elected representatives are up to, whether for good or bad, and this way you can judge for yourself. The only way that this party can succeed is if we are all as engaged as possible. As always, if you would like to speak with me, I welcome your communications. You can email me at any time at secretary@lp.org, or my phone is also open to you at 561-523-2250. Thank you so much and have an awesome day.